Just want to make a brief video about Buell intake manifold, fuel injectors, and throttle cams. It's a XB intake manifold. We have two stock injectors, front and rear. This is one of the V-Rod destroyer injectors, and then these guys here are the Siemens Deka 60 pound/hour injectors. These are both stock throttle cams, an older throttle cam and a newer throttle cam. They changed the profile a bit, and the throttle cam that's on this body is a throttle cam that I made that's a little bit smaller diameter, makes a quicker turn throttle. For the turbo setup, one of the modifications I had to make on the throttle body is I had to weld on a vacuum bung here. The signal is below the throttle plate, which is particularly critical for a blow-off valve. It needs that signal that's below the throttle plate, and other things like a vacuum and boost gauge. If you only are running a boost gauge, then you can run a port that's above the intake or above the throttle plate, like the emissions port that comes stock on the body. But if you want to measure vacuum as well, you've got to go below the plate. So those are the components there. You can see the V-Rod injector is the same size, but the placement of the connector is a little bit lower, and so when I ran these, I had to modify the intake manifold and actually notch out this section right here to allow the injector to seat all the way down into the injector boss. These new Siemens injectors are the exact same build as the stock injectors, so you won't need to modify the intake manifold at all, or the injector bosses at all, for those injectors to fit. Maybe some other shots here. I've got the motor, at least the top end, off right now. I've gone through the primary side and checked out transmission stuff. I'm just doing some forged pistons, and I'm going to be putting things back together here soon. Stock headers. And then this is the mid pipe from the stock header down along to the turbine side of the turbo. You can see I had to add some serious bracing here to essentially support the weight of the turbo all the way forward to the front, one of the front motor mounts. It also mounts off the two rear bolt holes, threaded holes on the cases. Those support the majority of the weight of the turbo, and also the external wastegate. Pretty simple little setup there. And that's about it.